Welcome to the podcast, Garrett.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first time in the podcast room.
It is my first time in this podcast room, yes.
Well, it's a little bit different than the last time you were here.
Yeah, I like we've done with the place.
I try, and then we got to tear it down soon. Sadness to it. It's funny, the next office we go to, I'm going to have to find a room the exact same size. So then we can just duplicate
fits perfectly.
It fits perfectly. So, why don't you tell everyone who you are, Garrett?
My name is Garrett Schwarz. What do you mean by that?
Are we related?
Yeah, we are. I'm his, younger brother.
Oh.
Yeah.
See?
Younger but bigger brother. That's how this works.
Well, you got height, I got everything else. So
yeah,
it works out.
There you go.
Hey,
yeah.
Well, why don't you tell everyone why you're here?
You just told me to come into a podcast room.
Well, why are you on this podcast?
I'm on this podcast because I started working for you for Resilience Realty Group.
Oh.
That's why, right? Yeah.
That is. Adrian, you moved the table too far. My feet don't sit on it too well. Yeah. I like having my feet on the table. Right, Adrian? All right. Well, welcome to the team.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It's been a few years.
Has been a few years.
It's actually been, 3 years now?
4. 3. I left at the end of 2019.
Oh, yeah. So,
yeah.
3 years?
3 years.
Dang.
3 years exactly, yeah.
Oh, wow. How long you been doing real estate now?
I've been doing real estate for 6 years now.
Dude, I'm going to go on year 8 this year. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
Year 8. So, how's real estate going for you?
It's going pretty good.
Most awkward podcast I've ever done with someone.
Why?
I don't know.
You don't know what to talk about.
I don't know, because I talk to you all the time.
Not so much. We used to talk to each other every single day of every single second.
That's true.
That was
We used to live together and all that stuff.
Live together and work together.
This show is sponsored by Resilient Real Estate Group, powered by EXP. So, you're thinking about buying and selling soon? Yes, we know you probably know a realtor, your mom's best friend's cousin's neighbor who puts her face on the local shopping cart. But you know what? Our friends at Resilient Real Estate Group have helped hundreds of thousands of people sell houses over the years, and they definitely know what they're doing based on their 5-star review on Google and Zillow. So, it doesn't matter if you're looking to buy $1 million house or a fixer-upper, make sure the next time you're thinking about buying and selling real estate, you give our friends a call over at Resilient Real Estate Group. And now we're back to the show.
I mean, no, I'm not going to bullshit you. Real estate's been a whirlwind, man.
Yeah.
From 2020 till now, we've just had the market continue to change. And the last 2 years, I was working a lot of internet leads, and chasing down internet leads suck, dude.
Yeah, they do.
So, no, I mean, business-wise, it's been decent.
Uh-huh.
I have a family now and focus more on that versus
congratulations.
the business.
Just got married.
I did just get married. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Just got married. Have a stepdaughter now.
About to go on your honeymoon.
About to go on my honeymoon.
About to go to Hawaii.
Kauai. Yeah.
Hawaii. Is that the main island? No.
Oh, Hawaii is the main island.
Okay. Then it's Maui.
Then it's Maui. And then Kauai is where they did Jurassic Park. And it's the smaller, more romantic island.
No, I've never been to that. I've only been to Maui.
There's no nightlife apparently in Kauai.
That's how Maui was. Maui was boring.
Yeah, you're right.
Maui had nothing.
It really has not
no nightlife.
much. Yeah, there's nothing to do. The big island, Hawaii, is where you go.
Yeah.
Oahu.
Oh, man. Well, that's exciting. So why did you, I think, did you underestimate online leads or what?
Did I underestimate?
Because everyone always wants online leads. Everyone wants Zillow leads.
You mean, did I overestimate it?
Underestimate them. Underestimate mean they were harder than you thought they'd be.
Oh, that's what you mean by it.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, I don't think I underestimated it. I mean, so Zillow was crazy. I was on a team with Zillow Flex, and Zillow was crazy when interest rates were, 3-4%.
We had Zillow Flex too. Here.
And you did?
Yeah.
Nice.
And
so
I didn't close one deal off of it.
Really?
I lost it. I lost the account.
Oh, I closed a lot of business actually off of Zillow Flex. I'd the biggest deal I ever did. I double-ended a deal at almost 1.2.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
So
you sold $1 million
2.4.
house and I never have.
Wait a minute, you still never sold $1 million house?
No, 995 is my highest. Double-ended overlook. The house off overlook.
That is crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I've sold a few $1 million houses.
Whoa. Well, he's our luxury agent, everyone.
I'm a luxury agent. Hey, I've toured those $1 million homes yesterday.
That's true.
Luxury agent.
Shoot those
No, I mean, it's just as the market changed, Zillow started having less and less quality, and there's less buyers, and so you're going to spend time, with these buyers who just want to go see a house, but now instead of them just wanting to go see a house, they're not even motivated to go see the house.
Yeah.
Like, the whole job was meet them on the very first appointment, and it's you'll work and get their business. Well, then it changed to nobody wants to go look at houses.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's the fact of like, I mean, the final straw was when I was showing the clients in Fallbrook and San Diego, and then driving back from San Diego, my engine blew up, and then that week they canceled our listing appointment, went to an open house and signed with somebody else, and I dealt with 2 months of not having a truck pretty much for nothing.
Yeah.
So that was about it. It's just a lot of driving when you're doing internet leads. You're basically like, for anyone who's had an on-call job,
It's like Uber Eats.
Yeah, really. Like, that's a simpler way to put it. It's the moment your phone rings, you pick it up, and because they're expecting to go see that house right now, we were Murrieta, Temecula, Menifee, Corona, and then we took Fallbrook on. Well, Fallbrook would be an hour away.
Yeah.
And so it just turned into, like I said, I have my wife, I have my stepdaughter, we plan things out, and then those plans go straight down the tube the moment you get that phone call.
The hard part about it is like, it is honestly sometimes so difficult, especially when you work on the buy side of being so far out. Like, you could take a listing almost anywhere, but like a buy side, like if you're showing a buyer in a market that's pretty far away, it's just, it beats you down.
It does. I mean,
especially right now, because especially since 2020 with like no inventory. And so, ever since then, it was like, I remember during COVID, we were like, Brittany, my assistant, would like literally like be putting houses on the schedule as I'm out showing more houses. And then like, thank God I had her, because it was like, all right, like one house came on the market. All right, I'm in Paris already. Okay, I'll run to Moreno Valley, show that one house. Okay, now I'll run back to Paris, show that one house. And then it's just like, it's all this. And then the driving there and the driving back kills you.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny to me how much we're on the road in this business, especially when you're working with buyers. Like you talked about, 2020, you were showing how different houses every single weekend to the same buyer, unless that buyer got into escrow, and those houses were off the market by Monday.
Yeah.
So Saturday, Sunday, going to open houses or showing houses, dealing with all the COVID regulations.
That was hard too.
Sunday night, Saturday night, you're writing offers. Monday, you're getting the counter. You're dealing with writing offers again.
Or you don't even get a response.
Or you don't get a response because they received 15, 20 offers. And then it translated to being more of a regular market, but it was still the same thing with interest rates at 3-4%. The market was consistently, you show a house, it's off the market in a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then now we're in this market of there's not a lot of houses on the market, and the houses that are turnkey, they're still going to go off in the first week or two, right? So when you're working with those internet leads, unless you get them to escrow, depending on how far they are, you're spending every single weekend with them.
Well, that's the hard part too, is they have no personal connection to you. So like, it's so much harder to stay in front of them when you're not getting them into escrow. And like right now, it's just very rare to get someone into escrow in a week, you know, or 2 weeks. So now you're like trying to stay in front of these people for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then and it's hard to follow up. Keep following up and following up and following up. And then what also is you have no personal connection with them. So then when your offer's not getting accepted, or there's just nothing on the market for them, then they think it's your fault. So then they're like, well, I'm just with a bad agent. Like,
yeah. And they're just trying, and then they're like, oh, well, we'll just go to listing agent, see if that works out. And I mean, the no rapport part, but like, it's that fine line of you get that new lead, right? And you want to help them as much as you can. You're not trying to get them into escrow immediately, but that's what they probably want. That's what they want. But you don't want to come off as the agent who's just trying to get them into escrow into a house. And then, like you said, it is hard to follow up with someone for 3-4 months who either doesn't have all their paperwork together, or you're just not finding the right houses for them and they're not putting in any offers. Because the hard part is do you want this as much as I think you do? Do you want a house as much as I think you do? Or is this just like it happens? Because as an agent, I feel like we really have to walk that line of being always available, yet not making the person feel like we're overbearing and, being extremely pushy and annoying them. Mm-hmm. But then the moment they're ready to go, they call us and we've got to be ready to go.
I think the big thing is that I've really been trying to do lately. I don't work online leads, so it's like it's all about like communicating and setting the precedent up front. So like for me, like if a buyer comes, like we just got someone qualified this week. Like for them, like they hit me up in January, and I knew they weren't going to start looking until May because their lease is up in July. So I was like, hey, like call me in May. Or call me in April, and we'll touch base then. Like, I'm not going to put you in my follow-up and call you 10 times, you know what I mean? When I know you can't do anything anyways. But it's the ability to just to be honest with that person, because I'm not scared of losing them because they came to me. I have a personal connection with them, XYZ. So I can be more upfront than when I'm working with, a random person that I don't know. And then if that random person I don't know, like, I don't know if they don't go into an open house and XYZ, or someone they kind of know just then gets their license. And that's the other thing, too, that people don't process, too, is like we're also, the hard thing about real estate is that the one good thing about being in a harder market, less agents are going to be around. But, like you will lose clients over time from people who, like, I remember losing one, like maybe last year. I sold their house. They were going to rent for a year. And I knew they were renting for a year. So, like, like I said, like the follow-up isn't call you every month. But and then all of a sudden I see them post on Instagram like, hey, just thank you so much for helping me buy our house. Well, like I didn't know they broke their lease. They broke the lease, went and bought a house with someone else. But then I like read the comments. It's like, I'm so happy that I got to work with my best friend. Like I didn't know them well enough. Like, of course, like her best friend got her real estate license. Yeah. Of course she's going to go work with her best friend. Even though... I think that's also the factor that people don't process is like, you're going to lose deals over that. And the longer, we always say like time's our worst factor. Like as time goes on, there's more chances you're going to lose that deal.
I would definitely agree with you on that. And especially with those clients you had who didn't end up doing anything in 2020, 2021, a thing that, I didn't really think about until you talked about was, because everyone thought the market was so easy, so many people got their real estate license in the last couple of years. Can you imagine how many people like were just on the fence who you have somewhat followed up with, and then somebody they know really well just got their license, so they're going to work with them. Yeah. Like, because that's the funny thing. It doesn't matter how good you are. Someone's going to pick that person first based off just, do I like this person? Yeah.
And then too, like that person's like, they're friends, so they're talking they're talking to that person all the time, and then so it's like they're automatically staying in front of those people so much more naturally. Yeah. So for us, it's like so hard to compete with.
I agree. I mean, but that's why hitting your spirit and being in front of your friends and talking to your friends about real estate and whoever's in your community is important, because like you just talked about, like I have a friend who I grew up with. He hit me up and he was like, "Hey, I'm sick of leasing," right? And he's 12 months out, 15 months out. And I had another buddy who's like 3-4 months out. You can just be honest with them and be like, hey, like, that's awesome. Let's get together, have some conversations. We're not going to get anything moving.
There's nothing we can do.
We're not going to get anything moving anytime soon unless you want to break that lease. Yeah. Unless your situation changes.
Let's look at that option, yeah.
And the thing is that people's situations change constantly. And that's why you have to do that little check-in every 2 months.
And the hard part, too, is, like, if you want to do a lot of business, it's just impossible. It is impossible to stay, like, buddies with everyone. 100%. Like, it's so hard. Like, and you have your own life, and you have life, and you have transactions, and you have everything else. It's like, and it sounds terrible to say this, but it's like, we don't get paid unless we close deals. So, like, if you're 8 months out, I got to go find someone and focus on someone who's 2 months out or 30 days out. So then my main focus is on that person. So by the time you kind of get closer to that window, then you become that 2-month person. But if someone inside of that 4 months got their license and is a lot closer to you, then that's just is what it is, you know? But, and you can't feel bad about it because I know I've done it to people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, sometimes I'll work with someone from, like, high school, and I'll be like, I know they know another realtor that went to high school. Actually, like, I try to think, like, I don't know really one other real estate agent who I went to high school with.
I know a few who went to a high school similar to mine and, like, know a similar group of mine, but I don't see them.
There was like
with
one.
any of my people.
I think there was what was her name? This girl named Jennifer, who I went to junior high and high school with. She was a realtor, but I think she was like part time.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I'm trying to think. Like, I don't really know anyone. That's actually very surprising.
Well, I mean,
I don't even know anyone from King.
You got to think about, like, right when you got out of high school, what happened?
Well, yeah, the market crash.
The market crash.
Yeah.
So it wasn't hot to be a young realtor.
Yeah.
You know. So,
actually, I wish I would have gotten him back then.
Obviously.
That would have been money.
Yeah, of course.
You would have crushed back then.
But I would say that's probably part of it. Versus like when me and, you know, Tristan got in.
Oh, yeah, Tristan,
like,
yeah.
it was the hot thing, you know. Tristan got in right after high school.
Yeah.
And then I got in at 22, you know, and it's this whole thing pushed by TV and everything like that. And everyone thinks it's so sexy, but it's honestly, being a realtor there's a lot of grunt work in it until you have an assistant or you have something
100%,
else.
Yeah. I think you know, it's funny. It's like, you know, I don't know if you've had, I've had clients like, oh, I'd love to get into real estate. I'm like, why? And they're like, I would love showing houses and working open houses. I'm like, that's great. I understand that. I agree. But I'm like, you're showing 800. You're looking at buy 800 grand. You're not working the open house for the $400,000 house in the bad area of Riverside.
Yeah.
Like, that smells like cat, like, you know. And the sad part about it is not the open house, the 3 hour open house. It's putting the sign. It's finding the open house if it's not yours.
Yep.
Then putting the signs out. Then getting all the marketing pieces ready. Then setting everything up. Then being there for 2 hours. Then packing 2 to 3 to 4 hours. Then packing everything up. Doesn't matter if it's raining or it's hot. Like, you got to go do that. And then hoping that someone came in, that you got their legit information to then like, that's the other thing too. People who don't rely on that, the people that have jobs that are like, oh, I'd love to work on my house. Yeah, until that's your livelihood, and then you're like, oh man, like I need someone to come in this open house. Like, I need to sell this house.
And you're
like,
just sitting in an
sitting
open
there
house,
doing nothing,
waiting for someone to walk in.
And then no one walks in, and you're like, sweet. And then it's the worst is when it's your listing, and then you're like, okay, sweet. On Monday or whatever day you tell your clients, like, I got to tell my clients that no one came in.
No, that's
and then they have to think like, well, is it his fault that no one came in, or why is no one come in? So now you have to have a reason why no one came in, like, you know, like, and then you have to start thinking outside the box. Like, okay, like, why did no one come? Especially when you think people are gonna come. That's the worst. Like, the first weekend, you think it's gonna be kind of popping, and no one shows up. You're like, okay, why did no one come in? Okay, well, the weather was bad, or it was Coachella weekend, or something. Then you gotta like start cooking through. Well, rates were really bad last week. All right, so I think like that's the hard part now. Is like, you got to be like you have to be an economist. You have to be a negotiator. You have to be a marketer. You have to be a communicator. You have to be like on top of everything. It's like so many levels. And I don't know about you, but because you've been 6 and I've been 8, but like from when I first started and now, there's no way I could be a brand new agent in today's market.
No.
It's so much harder.
2017, 2018.
16 was great. 17 was great. 18 was great. 19 was like, the end of 18 was kind of rough because rates shot up to 4%. But like, you know, but like 16, 17 was great. Like 16 and 17 was like, online leads were pretty sweet. You would always meet them.
See, you just started an easy market. Look at that.
The social media was a lot easier. It wasn't.
Well, nobody was doing it.
No one did it. It wasn't competitive like it is now. Now it's like you have to have all of this.
Oh my gosh!
You have to have your own editor. You got to do that.
We were doing market update videos with a green screen in a living room.
Dude, those
were people thought they
were great, right? God, if I could go back to those days where like literally you didn't have to do B-roll or nothing, no words on the screen.
Oh, 100%, man. It's so much more work. And
it's so much,
and it just continues
bigger
to change.
And so that's the thing, is like, it's impossible to handle everything now on your own. It's unfeasible. It's just the level to be productive and producing, the level what it takes to be an active agent is so difficult now. It's unbelievable.
Well, that's why I think one of the things that you offer to the agents on this team for open houses wise, setting up the open house, dude, that makes it so much easier to do. And all you gotta do is show up.
Yeah.
But you didn't waste any energy that morning putting out open house signs. You didn't waste any energy getting it ready. So there's you are in your best prime position right there to perform.
Yeah.
You know, just like sports, right? Like professional players don't get anything ready. Everything's prepared for them.
They don't show up.
All
they don't show up and drag the field.
Exactly.
I remember when I used to work college baseball and they would have an attitude, like guys would have attitudes, and my line was always to them, players, after I got released from baseball. And I would say some guy was popping, like a guy would be popping off like D3 or D2 or whatever. And I'm like, if you got to rake the field after this game, you suck.
You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
So if I see you raking the field after this game, just know you're not that good. Just so you know.
Oh, man. I'm sure you love those days.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but that's the truth. Like, you're raking that field because you're not good enough.
Yeah.
And you're not good enough for someone to pay them to pay someone to do that job.
Yeah.
You're just not. Because you're just not that good. And so then the question is, too, like, how? And then the other thing, too, how do you perform if you're the guy who's has to get the field ready and then play on the game and then
you're exhausted.
You're exhausted.
Just like we did open houses.
Yeah, you're putting out 50 open house signs.
We used to put out 50 open house signs and wake up at 4:35 a.m. to avoid traffic.
And put them out, yeah.
Put them out. And then right after the open house, if you didn't get any showings afterwards, it was 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Go pick them up.
And you were out for 2 hours picking up 50 open house signs.
Yeah.
And you were exhausted after that day. You didn't want to follow up or do anything. So the fact that you make it that easy for people to do open houses, I feel like just is so much value.
And it cuts down on the excuses too, right?
It does.
Like, you can't be like, well, of course, like, oh, I can't work at open house, I have showings that morning or whatever. It's like, no, you just have to show up to the open house. And then two, we have brand new houses. So, like we have Redlands going live tomorrow. So it's like, you're also showing brand new houses. It's not like you're showing dumpers.
No, you get the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
You get the brand new house and you get to, it's kind of like being a new build agent, right?
Yeah.
They show up, everyone's done all the staging and everything, all the things are set up, they just get told what to do. It's kind of like that, what you've created with the new builds that you're currently selling.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know we haven't gotten people to understand that the value of that yet, but
the hard part about it is I think most agents get in trouble is because, like, for example, like I give up 20% to EXP. So I'll give up $16,000 this year to EXP, which I just realized it rolled over because my check came in today and it was smaller than I thought it was going to be. But anyway, so I give EXP $16,000 a year. For what? EXP don't do nothing for me. But the group that I'm in, connected to EXP, the network of the people I have, just the mastermind on Monday, I got a nugget that is literally going to change our content game that like I got because I'm in this network and around these people. And that's the problem, is that when you're doing nothing and you're around no one, then you don't see the value in the aspect of what you're paying for. So like when people are like, why are we at EXP? Why do I got to give 20% to EXP too? Because we're getting all of this knowledge and network for free. So that's what we're paying for. We're not paying for EXP as our brokerage. We're paying for the network of people that we're in. So if we're not taking advantage of the network that we're in, then yes, the 20% makes nothing. That's why I say to agents, if you're paying, I don't care if you're paying 90-10, if that 10% is going to nothing, then you could go find somewhere else or go get your broker's license or whatever. But it's like, you're going to have to pay something. That's the hardest part. Listen, and every agent, there's a rant over me, but any agent, listen, if you're not doing business now, it's hard. It's only getting harder because of the market.
It's getting much harder.
And so if you don't want to go work for a team and give them a 50% cut, and they manage everything for you or whatever, great. Then when you go work a job and you're making $25 an hour, trust me, that company's making way more money than you, and you're making $25 an hour. Like, I don't think people process that, is that they live in the corporate world. Do you think if I work at Walmart and I'm getting paid minimum wage that I'm not making Walmart way more money that day than what I cost? Of course, they're a profitable company. That's why they do it. Same thing with real estate. We're here to make a profit. And I think agents forget that. The brokerage is also there to make a profit. It's not there to break even.
No.
It's not a nonprofit.
No.
It makes no sense. I always love that when agents come to me and they don't like our splits. And our splits, in my opinion, I think are very fair based on what we offer. And I always say to them, you're coming here because you want to make more money. Great. Can I make money too? And if you can't say yes to that, then you only care about yourself, and that's why you make no money.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely see that point. I mean, the team aspect of real estate confuses a lot of agents, especially if they've only been on their own. I mean, for me, I've basically been on a team my whole career.
Yeah.
And I've been on different types of teams. And it's interesting to see the evolve from when we started at Murray Real Estate, right?
Yeah.
We had a team of younger people in an area of more seasoned agents. Mm-hmm. And we loved that team because, like, we felt like it was us versus them, right?
Yeah.
And then we left that and we joined some brokerage that was more like us. And honestly, it felt like we weren't as close as a team anymore because we were dealing with everyone else in that brokerage.
Yeah.
You know, it was much larger. It wasn't a us versus them mentality. We lost a little bit of our competitive edge, I really felt like. But as things have evolved, you know, like, one thing you've always talked to me about was I want to find a group of guys or a group of people, not guys necessarily, but a group of agents who you can network with, and you're going to get things from them and they're going to get things from you. And it's all over, right? EXP, that's what it is. Like, us being able to be in those at mastermind groups, us being able to have straight up conversations with agents who are doing the same thing you're trying to do, run a team, run a business, those types of things, versus you going to a meeting in Riverside and talking to an agent who's been in the business for 20, 25 years and is barely, you know, living off of whatever business they're doing.
It's crazy. Let me ask you this question. Do you think it's because they don't even realize what's out there?
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's what it is. I don't think agents process. Like, even agents that I'm friends with that are in my market that are not they're by themselves and they work for brokers in Riverside, I don't even think they process what we are even doing here, and then they're shocked when we are doing more business than them. Like, they think it's just like, I don't know, luck or something. I don't even know what it is, but it's like you don't even know the cards we're playing with, because you want to stay in your little bubble. And I think that was why the one good thing about leaving Murray, which I did like it at Murray, I do agree with you. I thought we had a good vibe there. But I think the one good thing about leaving there was it opened up my perspective of who else is out there.
Yeah.
Because we went to Signature, and that's when we met up with like Shelby, and then I became better friends with like Amaya, and then I'm like, oh shit, okay. And then I left there and then went to Side in San Francisco. I was like, whoa, there's some people having like, you know, doing $1 billion. Like, I never thought anyone would do $1 billion in real estate sales. And it's like, wow, this Brett Jennings does $1 billion. Oh, this guy does this much. Oh, this one. Oh my God, that's so crazy. Like, that's even possible. And then it's like, okay, and then we went to EXP, and then it's like, wow, there's guys that are selling 1,000 homes a year, you know? Wow, like, because it almost like cuts down on like, oh, well, that guy sells $1 billion because he's in San Francisco market and they have huge. But then you meet guys that are like in the middle of nowhere with EXP now selling 1,000 houses.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy crap. And everyone's so like open and cordial and like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is how I do it. Copy my stuff. Like, there's no that like, no, I'm like, oh, how. Like, you know, nothing beats when you're asking, hey, where'd you get that deal from? Oh, you know, just got it. Like, okay. It just magically popped in your hand. You know what I mean?
It magically popped into my
I literally
database.
woke up and it was on the MLS already. I don't even know how it happened. I blacked out. But, like, that is the thing. Like, you know, I had a guy named one of my EXP guys call me up the other day. And I'm like, what's up? And he goes, just checking in. How you doing? Great. How you doing? You know, hadn't talked to him in like a week or so, and I was like, how's the fam? How's this? How's that? He's like, the team's struggling a little bit. I'm like, hey, this is what my team's doing this month. We're doing the CMA thing. We do it 3 times a year. Like, you should have your team do that. And he's like, what? That's a great idea. Let's do it. And so that's the power of the network. And like, it's mind blowing to me. Like I'm kind of over the self-help books or like I don't really watch too much motivational stuff on Instagram anymore, just because it's like all this, it's really simple and it's all the same thing. It just takes a lot longer than you all think. Like, and it takes like consistency and, being consistent and doing the things you don't want to do and being around the right people and X, Y, Z. And that's the undervaluedness of this. It's like, if you're doing no business and everyone you're around does no business, that's why you're doing no business.
How are you ever going to grow if you don't do any business? How are you going to ever get to the point where you're doing business? And then also when you actually are doing business, how are you going to understand how to handle that? Like, the roller coaster I've constantly been on in my career is you have no business going for like 2-3 months, and then you have 4 or 5 escrows, and then you're dealing with those 4 or 5 escrows, and then you're handling and then you have that dry spell, and then you have the 4 or 5 escrows, right? Nobody wants that. We all want to close 2-3 deals a month.
Yeah.
Even 1 deal a month.
Even if
so many agents would be happy.
If you
with
can just
do one deal a month.
if you can just average 1 deal a month for the most agent, but the hard part, and then too, it's the ability. I also know agents that's like they're doing 1 a month and they just act like their world's falling apart. You know what I mean? And I think that's too like. Sometimes we've had agents here in the past, a few years ago or whatever, and they're like, well, I want to do it this way. And I'm like, I agree, I understand that, but I'm teaching you how to do it when you have 4 escrows, not just 1 escrow.
Yeah.
Like, how are you supposed to know how to do it with 4 escrows if no one's teaching you how to do it with 4 escrows? So when you get to 4 escrows, then you're going to hit a wall because you're not going to know how to handle 4 escrows or 5 escrows or 10. Like right now, like I keep reminding myself, like I'm overwhelmed right now. I'm like, well, we have 22 escrows going right now. So it's like, okay, well, duh, that's why it's overwhelming.
Yeah, no kidding, you're
like,
overwhelmed.
you know what I mean? But it's like I kind of have to remind myself. But like I could have like one escrow, 2 escrows, 5 escrows, 7. Like that stuff's easy. But you only learn that based on one experience or someone teaches you it. And I think, so that's the issue. I say I think a lot. I should stop saying that word. That's the issue, is that most agents don't even know that exists. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I was so happy we left Rob's office. Because like it opened my eyes to a world that I didn't even know existed. Because at the time I was the number 1 agent at Rob's office. Yeah. So I'm thinking I'm a bit Mr. Badass, and then it's like, I go to Signature, and like guys are closing 85 deals a year, and I'm like, oh dang, how are they doing that? And then you're meeting guys like Amaya his team's doing 350 deals a year, and then now it's like we're friends with guys that are like number 2 team in the state or 3 team in the state, 5th team in the state, and you're like, holy crap, these guys are selling like $700 million a year. Like, how do they even do that? Like, and you're only going to know those things by one, bringing value to someone or paying them. Like even Dan Beer, who we're on his downline at EXP, he threw a thing about how he runs his business. It was $3,000 for 2 days. I paid it, and people were like, "Why?" I was like, "I want to see what it takes to run a $700 million team." Yeah, it's going to cost to give him the value or the information he's learned over 20 years. There's value to that. I got to pay for that. Just like when you go on a listing. Why do you pay me 5% or 6% or whatever the number is? It's because I've done this over 200 times. My experience will get this through the ship. I know how to negotiate. I know how to get up. Like right now, we went from 605 today. We had my clients out there getting 605, and now I'm getting them 620. That's $15,000 based on my skills in one night.
In one night.
That's value. That paid my commission.
For a listing that you were worried wasn't going to go into.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is like, that is the value that you bring. And you're going to have to pay for that. Just like when you go on a listing. If someone wanted to give me 0.5%, I wouldn't do it. Why? Because it's just not worth the time and money to do it.
It's not worth the time and money whatsoever. For the agents who think 1% is worth their time, better than
in our price point, it's not. After you pay your and that's the hard part. After you pay your taxes and after you do your time and after you do all these things, it's like you can't, unless you're closing 10 a month. No. And then at 10 a month, this is the other flaw I think people make as agents. Oh, I'm just gonna make like $250,000 a year. I'm gonna do like 30 deals a year. I was like, dude, there comes a point where there's negative cost to that stuff. Like the bigger you get, the more money goes out. You got to hire staff. You got to hire this. You got to hire a team. You got to hire, because sooner or later you start getting maxed out, and then you got to hire people, and that costs money.
That's the thing I think is interesting, is that you really have to figure out not only how much money you want to make, but you got to figure out how much money you want to put in.
Yeah, like how much you want to spend per month.
How much do you want to put in to make that money? Because if you want to make $200,000, but it's going to cost you $100,000, hey, maybe you're better off just making $100,000 and it costing 25.
Yeah.
Like for the time and effort and everything you put in. But to your credit on talking about, you know, how when we left Rob Murray, we lost that edge, but it was good for us because we got to see what the rest of the world was. I think, you know, after leaving and coming back, that's something that's definitely helped create all of this is your ability to network with people who you aren't giving anything to, but they see value in who you are, you know, because like there's a ton of people that we got a lot of stuff from, a lot of information, a lot of help who we didn't give them money. We just gave them time. You know, we were there when they needed us. We were helpful when they needed us. And then now with EXP, you know, like, yeah, I get it. People, we're helping each other to make EXP bigger and the downline. But I'm blown away by things that are just said by the top guys in the masterminds to anybody who shows up to that mastermind.
Yeah.
You know, like there's tons of people they're never going to actually talk to who are listening to them in that mastermind. And they're giving away
just gems,
lots of secrets, things that other agents would guard with, you know, that are in their book, guarded, locked away. They would never share with you, even if they're in the cubicle right next to you.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that's why EXP is doing what it's doing versus like Side and versus, you know, at the office we were at before. Like we had a lot of agents to like you to communicate with and stuff like that, but you never were. You had a meeting once a week or once a month,
but I
and
think
then
also
you went out
too,
to lunch.
I think also too that the hard part too is that those people are still agents. The people that help us out now are not even agents anymore. So their job is to continue to figure out how to make their companies better.
Yeah.
And so that's their job is to figure out how do I make this better? How do I do this better? How does everything work better? And so I think that's the power of it is like that's what they do because they're not busy doing transactions. You know, that's why you're here now. Like I feel like that's the space I need to go to make the company better. I got to free myself up from not taking every call and showing every house and doing all those things because I only have so much time in the day and I want to have a life. So I need to realize, okay, I need to give up money now to make more money in the future.
Yeah.
I got to invest now and make, and then that's the thing too, is like people think like, oh, we make so much money. Like, you know, like Wyatt said, like it was interesting to go see Dan's company. Like, you know, Dan said it, like if I make 20%, it's a profitable, like that's what I'm shooting for. My company, like they made like $15 million in commissions and his goal was to walk away with 20%. That was it. He spent $12 million in the company. He's like, the goal is to walk away with, after it's all said and done, everything's paid, taxes are paid, everything's paid 20%. And so that's also the thing is like these big companies make 20%, but you think you're going to go make $250,000 and keep $250,000.
Yeah,
it doesn't
100%.
It's not profitable. It's not possible.
I've learned that, unfortunately.
Right? Because everything costs money, like the systems or the marketing pieces or someone to put the marketing pieces together or every little piece costs money. So it's like you're not going to make $250,000 and keep $250,000. Like even for me, like if I make $250,000 and I walk away at the end of the year after it's all said and done, I have $100,000 in my bank account. Like that's an amazing year. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, for everything you got going
on. Even for me, if I make $500,000 and I walk away with $100,000 after I pay all my staff and pay, like that's the goal. Like I'm not trying to make $500,000 and keep $500,000. I know that's impossible. Like I want to make $500,000, pay all these people so they all have a life, and if I can walk away with $100,000 at the end of the year towards the company, great. You know, that's really it. You know, and then the goal is like, okay, then you get to $1 million, then you keep 200,000.
It just keeps
growing. So it's like the issue is that most people get so behind the eight ball that they can't understand giving up money because they need that check so much that I can't give you 50%. But you're like, you're not doing any business now. Like you're just magically going to happen. But that's how their business rolls. It's just magic. It's like, oh, someone popped up. Oh, someone popped up.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's the trouble with this business of so this is the trouble I've always thought there is with teams, period. And there's teams that are killers who are there to do 20, 30 deals, those team members on that team. And then there's people on the team who they aren't motivated to do business and they do the onesie twosies. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the problem is that people who do onesie twosie deals on their own, why would you come join a team to do a onesie twosie? And but that's the problem, right? The problem is that agent who is doing that, they have that facade of, well, when I sell this $800,000 house for 3%, that's $24,000.
Yeah.
I don't want to make only 12. I want to make 24. $24,000 over 4 or 5 months, they're still doing decent.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're not thinking about the taxes.
Yeah.
And if they're not doing any business, they're also not, they have no write-offs.
Yeah.
So that.
Well, and then they roll in that hubs and flows.
Yeah.
Then they go like dead, okay, and then dead. Like even today, like we have a new agent and she's been here for like 2 weeks now, and her husband has a friend who tried to sell his house. It expired, and I was like, all right, like cool, all right, possible listing, let's do this, that client, the agent that he hired overpriced the house. The agent that he hired had bad photos. The agent he hired did this wrong and this wrong and this wrong. Okay, cool. All right, let's do this and this. So I think the house is worth. Here's a booklet. Here's your listing presentation. Here's all these things. Go, go meet with him. And then when you set an appointment, I'll go with you. And that's the that's the value that it's there. It's like you walk in, I have someone who might want to sell their house. Okay, here's your listing presentation. That works. Here's our marketing that works. Here's all our marketing pieces. Here's our stats. Here's all these things that you don't have because you're a single agent, and now you have the power of us. All right, go get that listing. And then when you set the appointment, I'll then go with you and help you close the listing because I know how to answer all the questions you do not. And so there's a better chance of you getting that listing.
Yeah. And
it's already handled for you. The photographer's already set up for you. The sign will go in the front yard for you. I'll help you with the pricing. The system in place. You have your job is literally, when you really think about it and cut it down, the goal as a team is to cut down how much you actually work and how much you get paid per hour by the hours you're working. That's it.
Yeah, and I would say that the model you're creating is really fitting that mold. But something I was thinking about the other day that I think we're going to face as a real estate team is with real estate agents. The team thing blew up, right, when we were getting started 2017, not just with us, but lots of agents started running teams, right? And they didn't think like Dan Beer. They ran the agents who started putting teams together, they were running teams to make a huge profit. Yeah. They were running teams because they wanted to do 50 deals a year, but they didn't want to deal with it. Yeah. So they were like, okay, I'm just going to give you my business while I'm working my business, and you're going to go do 20 deals, and I'm going to get half of that because I'm giving you this. But they didn't give them the marketing materials. They didn't set them up to literally have everything they need to go in the appointment. Instead, they thought, I can train you to be just like me, but you can't.
It's impossible.
Because an agent who does 20, 30 deals a year has something that an agent who does 5, 10 deals a year does not have. It's not just the marketing, it's the want to do that.
Yeah.
And what I think is something that we're going to face while recruiting is agents who have been burned on other teams.
Oh, yeah.
I can waste no time, because I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. I can waste no time, because I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. I can waste no time, because I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
Yeah. Agents who were told all that stuff and that, hey, you can do more business and we'll do all this for you. And then once they signed the dotted line, it was over. They didn't do anything for them. That team was only focused on recruiting more and more agents. Yeah. And versus what we're having right now, which is, hey, we're trying to create a small team that continues to grow, but we're going to do everything for you. Yeah. Literally everything for you.
Well, and two, I'm really about, I've always been this way, and some people say it's wrong or whatever, but I've always been about and had the idea of, like, people want to work with you, they don't want to work with me. And, I had a talk with an agent down at Fast Forward Movement, and he was asking me, he's like, I see that you promote your agents a lot that work for you. And I go, yeah. And he goes, aren't you scared they're going to leave? And I said, they're going to leave. Sooner or later, they will leave. And I go, so why would I lose the business now because I'm worried about making them too big and then leaving? If they leave because it gets too big, then I did my job. That's what we were there to do. But I'm already planning them leaving. I'm not the average agents, and I've learned this from John Sheplack. Like I said, the cool thing about growing and getting new coaches, and John Sheplack says they're going to leave in 3 years. That's what it is. Stats shade 3 years. Don't think that no one's ever going to leave you. They're going to leave 3 years. How many people have I left here? People leave.
No.
So it's like, while they're here, let's make them the best possible agent, do the most possible deals possible. And if they leave, they leave. Great.
Instead of the thought
of holding them down.
Hold them down. Let's make them earn what they're going to get from this team. And then once they've been here long enough, then I'll give them everything I've got, because they showed me that they're going to be loyal.
Yeah, my thing is, like, the moment you walk up, it's like we need to get your face out there. Like, I don't think a lot of I think we might be the only team that does this. But like, when I list or sell something, like, they list and sell something. When I list something, it's when they get their Instagram post, it's their face on it. It's not me.
Yeah, no.
So when they post it on their social media, their friends think that's in their new listing.
Exactly.
Because it's like and so he was like mind blown by it. And he's like, why would you do that? And I'm like, because their friends want to work with them. They don't want to work with me. Instead
of like what we see some teams do, where they will say, hey, when I've got a listing, post my listing. But they don't make it where that the listing, that post has them actually in it. It's just a house or... Yeah, I mean, to your point on people want to work with you, when I was with a different team, I wasn't able to work on the listings, and, I was still working side by side with the team lead who was doing it. But my past clients or my friends who he was helping told me how it wasn't an enjoyable experience for them. And it was because he wasn't me.
Exactly.
They were used to how I did business.
They don't want me.
Even though I looked at, well, he's a better listing agent than I am because all he does is listings. That didn't matter to them. All that mattered to them was we didn't want to deal with him.
They don't care. They don't care how good. They don't want to deal with us. Like, and I honestly, sadly, don't want to deal with them. Like, I don't want, I guess if something hard comes up, like, yeah, you'll step in. But, like, the day-to-day communication, like, I want you to build a rapport with that person, so then that person refers us more business. Because who are they most likely going to refer business to? Me, some guy they just met, or someone they've known and they really wanted to hire that person, but they're on a team. So then they technically hired the team lead. So who are they going to refer business to? Who is the most important front runner? It's gonna be the person that they wanted to work with in the first place, not some random person. You know what I mean? But the power of the team lead is to put the things in place. So like for me, like every Tuesday afternoon, my clients get a video update of what's going on in escrow or offers or how to open houses and whatever. So my team, when they'll be the ones shooting that. Not me. They want to see that person's face, but I'm giving them the tips and the tools for them to be able to do that task that they wouldn't be able to do without me.
Yeah, I mean, when we first started, it was you were trying to make a name for yourself and you were trying to do your own business, and the disconnect was we as agents were trying to figure out how to become agents but also do marketing like you did, right? One of the best things I've seen you do is on Monday when after the meeting, you have the video planned out and you tell everyone what to say and you help them do it. And then they don't have to worry about editing it or anything because Adrian does it. Yeah, editing videos was do you remember how much time you used to waste editing videos? Oh my God.
See, I mean, that's the thing too. Like, some people give me crap like, oh, you should have bought a house and oh, you should have done this and that. You know what? You're right. I should have. But you know what? Like for me, I had an argument the other day with David Spears, and I have no problem saying it was David Spears. But he's like, you should have bought a house, you should have done this, you should have done that. I agree, but I also, when COVID happened, I had staff, and I didn't know if they were still I didn't want to fire them. I wanted to keep them and pay their bills. So in my head, I thought, what's more important right now? Own a house, because I didn't know what the market was going to do, and like obviously now I wish I would have bought one, but Was it put a down payment on a house and not be able to pay my employees, or pay my employees? I'm going to pay my employees. Like, sorry, like I have that ownership on my back that they work for me. I'm going to make sure they have their bills are paid. But the funny part about it is now that the market has slowed down and people are not making that money, now they want to do what we do here, and now none of them have money to do it. So it's like all the investments of this podcast room and the whiteboard, like what agent wants to go spend $5,000 on a whiteboard right now that's digital? Zero. How about all the props and the stands and the lights and all that stuff that costs money, that when they were rolling in and dropping cash on all these other things, now they're like, oh crap, like I need an agent, or I need to be doing podcasts, or I need to be doing this, or oh, it's so cool that you do the podcast, and oh, it's so cool you do this, and oh, you're so cool. Great, but all this costs money, and I had to make a decision. What's more important, investing in my company or investing in fun stuff? It was investing in the company. You know, I don't think people process that. It's like, this is the long game, because I believe in this so much that it's like, okay, well, catch me in 5 years when you might not even be around anymore, because you didn't want to invest in the company in the beginning.
The moment we got this office, and we decided to stupidly remodel it ourselves.
I know, an idiot.
Ripping that carpet out. I feel like for you, that was the moment there was no going back.
Oh, 100%.
There was no going back whatsoever. You had already made the decision that whatever your real estate company was, that was where everything was going.
All my money.
For Pete's sakes. You drove a Sprinter van
with my face
with your face on the side of it.
I want to get another van right now.
Just for the business.
Yeah.
Driving a Sprinter van is a pain in the ass.
I love that thing.
Yeah, sure you did.
I think like that, like this is because for me, like this is the most important thing, man. And I'm excited. Like I'm excited to see, like, I sometimes have to step back and look and like, oh my God, this is all we do. And I struggle recruiting agents because I do. Like, I don't buy leads. Like, I will never buy leads. I just don't believe in them. I don't think they work. I think they're overhead. I think most agents can't handle online leads. I think most agents don't want to work online leads. I think most agents burn out based on like the things I know and all these other things. And it's like, how do we work with the people that want to work with you? You know, like, how do we get a brand new agent for their sphere of influence to know that they're a real estate agent and make them look like I would hire that person, you know? And I feel like that's what we're doing, and that costs money. And so, yeah, we might not be buying leads here, but, you know, like, perfect example, like that lady who, you know, has a listing presentation and has a nice listing presentation and a nice CMA, not CMA Cloud or whatever, like a legit system that I pay for that makes their stuff look good and all their branding, and it's a hardbound book and XYZ and all these things. It's like, okay, now that girl actually has a legit chance to go get that listing. And that listing is $700,000. $700,000 at 3%, that's $21,000. You know what? Split that in half, and we pay for all the stuff, not off the top. I pay for all the stuff on myself. You're walking away with $11,000. I'm walking away probably like $5,000. Like, you made $11,000 that you probably would not have gotten without me, and I made $5,000 that I wouldn't have without you.
And even if they did make it without us, the thing is that, which again you've really started to focus on in the last years, is you're making your agents' experience easier, faster, less complicated. You know, like, you're not putting it on them for them to figure out how to do it. You're not putting it on them to put together the presentation. You're not putting it on them to have everything ready to go. No, instead it's, hey, you told me you have somebody who's thinking about buying a house. Come here, let's put all this together real quick, and you go get that listing, and then I'll come on the appointment with you. Because that's the biggest change, man. The biggest change is when an agent who doesn't do business is like, oh, I know somebody sells their house. The first thing they're thinking is, well, how do I get them to want to sell the house with me? It's not, oh, I'm going to go talk to Joe right now because he said he wants to sell his house. No, they're literally like, okay, what do I do now? Because they haven't done it 100 times.
That or they lose it. They lose it because they don't have the confidence to go in. And then now it's like very competitive. It's like, if you do not come in with your A game on, there's a chance you might not get it.
100%.
You know, so it's like, if I'm competing with you, I'm 99% sure like we are the top when it comes to everything. even down to our 15-touch automated follow-up with agents after they show your house. Like, most agents call once if they call once, or text you once asking how'd the showing go. We have, and I have learned as an agent, I'm not good enough to follow up with agents. So I automate it, and we have a 90% response rate from agents. Well, why is that important, Adam? Well, because if I don't have the feedback why a client doesn't want to buy their client doesn't want to buy our house, how am I supposed to advise my seller on what we need to do? Maybe it's overpriced. Maybe they don't like the paint, or maybe like the same complaint over and over and over. It's like, okay, well, let's make that change that might cost us $5,000. Or they go like, yeah, we really don't like the downstairs. It's ugly painted, and my clients can get past. Great. What if I painted it? What if I got that painted for them before the close of escrow? Would that change their mind? That would. Okay, cool. Go back to the seller. Hey, they want to move forward, but they hate the paint, so we're gonna get the painting. It's gonna cost you $3,000. That's what we're gonna do. We'll paint it after they remove all their contingencies. All right, cool. And so that's, I think, the thing is like, even those aspects, and the reason why, and we talked about this on Monday, like, most agents do not get deals because they're not confident enough to close.
Yeah.
That's it. That is the biggest thing, is confidence and the way you get more confident is, one, experience, but two, having the things say, we do this, and we do this, and we do this, and we do this, and we do this. But it's so hard in the beginning, and the reason why I think our team struggled and failed so much, and culture and all that other stuff. But when you were here last, it's like I was still trying to figure out how to be an agent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was still trying to be an agent. I was still trying. I didn't have a full-time assistant. I was doing everything. So like at the end of the day, in my head, it was like, okay, like I'm still trying to figure out how to bring the business in. So that's the most important thing. Because in my head, I'm like, okay, well, that makes me the most money.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have time to focus on my agents because I need to go make money.
Yeah. Not only that you got to go make money, but you were making the most money on the team, so you're the one keeping the lights on.
Yeah.
So if the lights turn out, then all the agents on the team don't have an office to go for anymore. We relied on you. So no, I mean, that was easily one of the biggest things, was you were still trying to figure out how to be an agent. You were still figuring out how to run your business. Your business wasn't nearly as planned out and automated as it is now. And so, like, those are the big changes, for sure. But the thing to, your thoughts on going on the listings and things like that, and the follow-up with the agents afterwards. I mean, I showed a house yesterday that we walked in the house, and we started walking around. There's holes in the ceilings. There's holes in the ceilings. There's stains on the ceilings. Not only on the top of the house, but also in the kitchen. And I texted the agent before the showing, because in 2020, I just became very communicative with listing agents that, like, hey, all the information I can get from you before I show the house, that's better for me. I asked her, like, hey, is there anything I need to know about the house? Nothing. She's like, no, 10 will let you in. I text her, I'm like, can you tell me what happened?
Yeah.
Like, and she was like, oh, there was a roof leak in spring of 2023 this year with how bad the rain was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, is the seller going to fix it? And she was like, yeah, the seller will fix all the cosmetic problems. And I'm just like, why is that not already done?
Yeah.
Or why is this not in the description? Why, like, all those things. And you're just like, if I never asked those questions, my clients are over here like, man, that house is a dump.
Yeah, it's a dump.
But if I have a client who's like, oh, I like that house, but, I don't want to worry about fixing that. Well, now that's not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
And communication on the buyer side of knowing how to follow up with listing agents, but also being a listing agent and having that automated system. Because listen, I'm a buyer's agent most of the time. Yeah, when a listing agent reaches out to me the first time, I don't respond.
I don't either.
Unless I'm trying to get
Buy
that
a house,
escrow,
exactly.
I'm not responding.
And that's the funny part. I'm not worried about the people that are interested. I'm worried about the people that are not interested. Because if someone's interested, they'll hit us up.
100%.
But if they're not interested, I need to find out why they're not interested. And I know, like, going back, like, I started learning, like, and I think that's the thing that I think, I say that I think a lot. I need to stop that. Is you have to keep thinking how to make the product better as times shifted. I didn't need this follow-up back in 2020 and 2021.
No.
I didn't need that. But now, if my team has 10 listings all at one time, I know my team is not going to follow up with them. So now I have to automate the whole process for them. So yes, that agent, my agent who has a listing, the agent showing the house might be getting a text from me because it's automated. But at the end of the day, who cares? And I think that's something that I want to do so much for my team is like, I get that I'm the face of the company. Like, I understand that. But I want you to realize that you are a partner in the face of the company. That's why we're saying, like, you're the listing agent. I don't need to be the listing agent because I want you to be the face in that moment in time because that's when we need you as the face in the moment in time. And then if things get tough and you don't know how to answer the question, I also want to be known so I'm not some stranger to these people. And so then it's like, even though same, like, all right, now they're getting a text from me and then they're getting a text from this person. So it goes back to that thing. I think that most agents hate teams because they think like it's all going to be about the team lead. Oh, it's a team lead. It's a team for sales sign. It's a team say, like, I understand that. And I think some people will say the hybrid model doesn't work, which I just think that it's going to. You just have to do it differently. And it's finding the right people to play in the game because you have to have people buy into it. You have to get people to buy into this is what we do.
Well, like, so I know a couple of team leads who they got sick of running a team and they created this accelerated hybrid model basically where they started turning agents into just appointments or, showing agents basically. They would set them completely up for the appointment and then they would have that agent go on the appointment and then that agent doesn't even handle right in the escrow. The main agent handles right in the escrow. But here's the thing. They were only going to offer those agents 25, 30%. It's basically getting a referral. But they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
All they did was go show a house. The hybrid model that we're molding and trying to create here, it's going to help an agent grow, become a good agent, get better, but they don't have to deal with those struggles of when you first become an agent. I mean, I have agents reach out to me all the time who just got into the business. Or I'll talk to somebody who's been in the business. I talked to a guy been in the business a year. Still hasn't done a deal. And he is staying where he's staying because he's like, oh, things are getting better, blah, 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 blah. That blows my mind. How can you be working and not close a deal in a year? How can you be working and not try to find a better place?
But those are the people that don't. But those are the people that don't think about how to make the process better either.
Yeah.
So it's if you don't want to leave your brokerage because it's getting better, you're not going to be able to when the market shifts because that's the thing is you have to be around, and that's why all these brokerages don't work. Is that the person who's running the ship has to continue to think how to make the product better, how to make it better, how to make it smoother, how to make the process for the buyers better, the sellers better, the agents better, the staff better. And as the market shifts, you then have to figure out, okay, now we're going into a different market. What do I need to add to that or subtract? Like if we went back to 2020 and 2021, then I would pull the follow-up away because we don't need that anymore.
No, you would need somebody to be able to respond to the agents,
all the offers,
or how the offers are coming in.
Yes.
And get it in at this time, and don't ask me these questions.
Yeah, like we would change the automation to that. Like, don't call us, do this, and then we would have to have someone like organizing the offers for us. That would be changing. But I mean, it's like I said, starting in 2016 and now, like I don't know. I forget because we're around so many people that do deals, and we do deals that there's a lot of agents out there that haven't closed a deal in a year. And it is mind-blowing to me. Same thing. Like, you're like, you haven't closed a deal in 6 months. Like, what are you talking? Like, I just really think, like, if it hasn't happened in 6 months, your whole career is just going to be guessing.
Yeah.
So it goes back to, like, what we talked about earlier. You talked about, like, as a buyer, it's like, as an agent, when I'm recruiting an agent, I have to think, like, do you really want this? Or do you just want to say you play realtor? You just want to say you're a real estate agent, but do you really want to be a realtor?
Yeah, I mean, I've had that conversation with myself of, like, do you want to be the top producing real estate agent who does 20, 30 deals? Or do you just want to do enough business to where you can, have a decent living? And that was a real conversation I had with myself. It's like, I don't care about being that agent who does 20, 30 deals. Like that doesn't get me out of bed. Getting me out of bed is being more involved in a real estate business and, having a good income. That's why we ended up deciding on, me becoming your production partner and having something that worked better out for me. But when I was 22, 23, 24, oh my gosh, I wanted to kick everyone's ass, right? Like I wanted to be the top agent of the top agent, but I didn't have the wherewithal to put all that work into place. And I think that's what's awesome about what Resilience Realty Group is right now is if we run into a 22, 23-year-old, 24-year-old, I mean, it doesn't matter what their age is, but somebody who, is ready to put everything they have into this business, they will skyrocket.
Yeah. We just have more of a plan. And that's what we're really building right now. And I know you got to go because you got to go pick up your daughter. But
yeah,
that's my goal right now. It's like, how do we make the onboarding of an agent as quick and easy as possible in a way that is functional for everyone. And I think that is too, like, we're just like, not everyone wants to do it every way. Like, we're not meant for everyone, and that's okay. And maybe you want to be a Zillow buyer, but I know people that go to big brokerages that run flex teams and they can't keep up, and that's difficult for them. And you have to figure out what works best for you, because that's the only way you're going to survive. And it's how do you do it for 8 years or 10 years or 15 years and if you don't, if you're not great at your SOI and your SOI will survive you forever, you better master your SOI. You better master how to stay in front of your sphere of influence to do deals, because that's what's going to last you forever. Because your SOI will always be here. Zillow might go away and come. Online leads might come and go. Some people are saying door knocking might go illegal. No one picks up their cell phone, which I don't disagree with.
Call us.
I don't disagree with that. Or no one picks up their cell phones anymore, or their phones anymore, and everyone's on a do not call list. But your SOI will always be there. So you better master how to stay in front of your SOI, because that's the one consistent thing that will be here. So you better get great at marketing to them and stop worrying about chasing down strangers before you can actually handle the people that already know you.
Yeah, you better get comfortable being able to talk with the people who you like and who like you about business, and being able to help them navigate the difficulty of buying and selling real estate, because it's not easy. There's a lot of complicated things about it. And people, when they work with people who they trust and who actually know what they're talking about, it's a lot easier process.
It's a lot easier when someone's like, what do you think? And you have to tell them. And I get nervous for people because I'm on the other side of transactions, and I'm like, who would trust this person? They're idiots. So for my clients, one of my best things that makes me feel good when a client goes like, well, what do you think, Adam? Like, that's what we want to hear. We'll go with whatever you think.
That's definitely the best feeling right there.
Then I know that I'm doing my job correctly. But it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy to think that you've been gone for 3 years. It's crazy to think. Sometimes I forget the transition that has happened here in 3 years. What we have here now.
It's incredible.
The things. I mean, I mean to think that we have the things we have in place and the marketing pieces and all the other things we have coming. Do we have Adrian? Do we have Brant?
We had Brant and we had Adrian. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But just like now, like
but it was more like they were following you around doing vlogs, and we were trying to figure it out, and like I would have them film here and there. Like everything is structured. This is now a business.
Yeah.
And now we're at the point where we've created this business. I mean, not we. You've created this business. I've come along to help you moving forward. And we're just waiting, or we're just trying to get people to understand what we've created and to come experience it and enjoy it. I mean, this podcast room used to be my office.
I know.
Like,
I know. It's going to be momentum. And I think that the more people that come over, and like Tamia just came over. If we get that, let's get that listing for her. Jennifer just came over. She just put one in escrow. Jessica put one in escrow. You just put one in escrow. So when people start seeing the team and the media and the escrows and this and that, that's gonna bring people over.
Yeah,
because they're gonna be like, wow, I'm doing nothing here, and this person's doing all of this. Like, whoa.
Yep. It'll start the momentum and cause the change. And the best part about it is, we were trying a lot when we were at whatever the teams we were, all the different team names we had.
Names, yeah.
We were trying hard to just have the team and we weren't trying very hard to like have a place for the team.
Yeah.
And now we finally have that.
Yeah. And we still have somewhere to go.
There's so much growing to do.
That's great too. Like something I learned from John Sheplak. Shout out to John Sheplak, great coach. But he's just like, be honest with people. Like, it's never going to be perfect. Your team's never going to be perfect. Your system's never going to be perfect. You just got to tell them like, hey, we're going to continue to work on this. We're going to continue to work on this, and that's what we're going to do.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Go pick up your daughter. Thanks. I'm excited to have you here.
Excited to be here. Thanks for the podcast.
Big things.
Big things.
The only person that's going to watch is mom.
Yeah.
But thanks, guys. Make sure you share, like, comment, all the good stuff. Until next time, peace.